If you may have seen this show before, this is a show intends to bring the gap between parents and children. A lot of children are claiming that our parents will never understand what we go through. And a lot of parents are saying or claiming our kids will never appreciate or know where we come from. I'm very honored to have the Dawood's family, and I would like them to introduce themselves, names. Unfortunately, the father, who is very important and loved by every single one here, had to be at work today, so we will go without him today, unfortunately. So,
I am Hanan Dawood. I am the mother of 3 beautiful daughters, and I have been really, really, truly blessed. My girls are just amazing. I have come to this country when I was 5 years old, so I was actually pretty much raised in this country, and I have been educated in this country as well.
okay.
I'm Sarah Dawood. I'm going to college next year. I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior in high school.
I'm Lisa Dawood. I'm in 10th grade and I'm 15 years old.
I'm Karen Dawood and I'm in 7th grade and I'm 12 years old.
Okay, so let's roll now. So the topic is it culture or is it faith? And I'll give you an example. Mom will say, you can't go to jeans to the church. Why? Because it's very disrespectful to God. So that's very good. Mom explains it. Or it can say, she can say the completely different. Oh, no. People will say, I didn't bring you a good dress, and that's not good. A lot of Egyptians and Copts are saying this, what kind of jeans you are wearing, and this jeans does not look good upon mom. Or dad will say, a different scenario, you have to eat falafel if you are fasting. Dad, but I'd hate it. Oh, no, that's it. This is our faith. If you don't eat falafel, you are not fasting. Or I don't know what is that in English, so I'm not going to. Is it? Anyway, I'm not going to go through that because it's not even, I don't know if it's nice taste or not, but are many things. For example, you say another cultural thing versus faith. How do you put your legs, or you cross your legs, or you put your hand in your pocket as a boy, maybe not a girl, while you are in church? And that's very disrespectful. God is going to be very upset from you, and we bring God as if He's really watching us and looking at every single one, how he or she behaves. If you don't mind, I want to start with the girls first, and I will start with Hannah's first. Hannah's opinion. Hannah, what do you think?
When I was a little bit younger, Mom would never let me wear jeans to church. She'd be like, no, it's disrespectful, it's gonna make me look bad because, you know, I'm something and I'm like the head coordinator, and no, you can't wear that. So, you know, I wouldn't be allowed to wear it while all my other friends were wearing it. But, and if I wore something too short, Mom wouldn't let me wear it because it would come a little above my knee. So she wouldn't let me wear it, and neither would my dad. So,
Okay. So Lisa, what do you think? These issues, culture or faith? Do we mix them? Do we get entangled and we bring cultural issues and they are actually faith? And sometimes we misname things and we call them faith or dogma, and they are completely have nothing to do with dogma. I'm willing to hear examples, but I'm willing to hear also argument.
I think that it depends on like what's going on. If it's like back to the jeans at church thing, I feel like it is a faith thing. Like, you don't want to disrespect the church, but the whole everyone's gonna talk about it, that's a culture thing. That's what everyone's afraid of is gonna happen because of the culture of like everyone's like, oh, you can't show up with short dresses. You can't have like nothing. Like you have to be wearing nice dresses, wearing like nice stuff. But it in the end of the day, that should be you do it for your faith, not because of the culture that you shouldn't be wearing like that. The Egyptian culture, like, oh, you shouldn't wear this because people are going to talk about it. In the end, it should be because you're supposed to respect the church. You're supposed to respect God's house.
So you think we as a culture, as a society, we mix and we teach our girls and boys and telling him, do not wear this, do not eat this, do not do this, not because of the disrespect to God's house, but rather because our culture says that.
Well, that was for that example. For other examples, like the OLS, I think that was like...
You're so cute.
Yes, keep going. I like that.
That was different. That was...
I'm sure if your dad was here, we would have made a whole
Oh my
story
gosh,
about
yes.
it.
Yes, you would probably.
Yes.
Oh, I wish Bobo was here.
Yeah, me too. But he would, that one was more like, I don't know where I was going with that.
Okay, so let's pick on Sarah.
Okay, so I was kind of waiting for that. I feel like a lot of people that grew up in America inside the church, they see the church as one way, and the people like mom and dad probably see it another way because they grew up in Egypt or whatever. And I feel like they're trying to take the things from Egypt here to America, when in reality there's no difference between the church that we see in America versus in Egypt. Like, in all honesty, if we come with ripped jeans, it's not good. Like, don't do that. Don't go to church with complete holes in your shorts because it looks bad. But in all honesty, God's not going to look at your jeans. He's going to look at your heart. And the biggest problem, I think, is if I go to church in ripped jeans and it reflects off mom, and my mom is a really big servant at our church, and I don't want to embarrass her like that, and people talk within the church, and I don't know if that's an Egyptian thing, because America, we don't talk. We talk for a day and then it goes away the next day. But they talk and talk so much in the church, and it never goes away, and it's always reflecting off of mom for one mistake, when in reality, God doesn't care about one mistake. You repent, you confess, you're forgiven, and that's how it should just be looked at. It shouldn't be looked at between culture or anything. It should just be faith.
So mom, can you take what your beautiful girls have said and agree, disagree, and comment?
Agree and disagree. I'd have to agree simply because, no, I don't have to agree because they're my girls. There is indeed what Sarah was saying, a very big truth. And the truth is, sometimes we look at the church a lot more than just simply a place where we live our faith. And it becomes, especially here in the States or in the land of immigration, when we are scattered, to find a place where we can gather and remember how it was back home is very important to us. And unfortunately, like Sarah was saying, we do bring in factors from the culture in here, and we have a problem with that because our children are growing up in a society that clothes don't matter and looks don't matter, and wealth doesn't matter as much as heart. And I believe that is essential in our faith, that our heart is the center of our worship. If our heart is in how we look, if our heart is in what we wear, then we're not worshiping. And that is a big, big problem that we're facing, because when we do go to our children and say, and I am guilty, believe me, the reason the girls are laughing is because I am very much guilty of telling them, you can't wear this to church, you can't wear that to church. Maybe when Hannah was younger, I just said it's because of that to help her understand. But the fact is, what we wear going to church reflects how we love our Christ. Because what we wear reflects this relationship. If I come dressed in jeans and a dirty shirt as compared to dressed in a suit and tie, that it shows immediately. And that's why I try my best. Maybe it didn't hit Hannah, but I try my best to let them know church is church, school is school, home is home. And what we wear and how we act in the 3 different places reflect how we feel about these places. So yes, I don't agree, exactly like my daughter, that we should look at the outer appearance. We should look at the inner heart. But at the same time, we have to understand what we wear on the outside reflects what's on the inside. So it's not mutually, disconnected. It's mutually connected. What I wear is what is inside of me. So if I go to church wearing short shorts or wearing short dresses, what happens is I'm saying, it's just another place. Or if I go in jeans, it's like I'm going to school. And quite often, and I'm sorry to say this about myself, quite often I tell my girls, are you going to church or are you going to school?
She said that last week.
I said,
And what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Was she trying to send a message or she's trying to criticize your outfit?
She was just trying to joke with me because I was wearing a shirt that she really liked. She's like, "Oh, you should definitely wear that to church," So we were we were going for Sunday school. So she's like, "Oh, when you go to Sunday school, you can just wear jeans," I was like, "Okay." And I wore a shirt that she liked, and she said I could wear it to church. She's like, "Oh, so we're going to school now?" I was like, "You said I could wear this shirt." So I took that as a joke. So
I see. I think the message that sometimes we parents send to our children, that you should not wear this because I'm worried about my image. And I'm worried that what other women or other men in my case would say about my daughter or my son wearing, because I don't want people to say, oh, I don't have a good control over my kids, or I don't know how to raise them, or I don't know how to... Look at Hanan's daughter, how she's coming like this, she doesn't know how to raise her child. And all of a sudden, I mixed the culture with faith, because I'm supposed to teach my child and showing her she's supposed to come in her best attire to meet the King of Kings, as if she has her best interview. And rather than I give her that, convey that message, I'm conveying a message. What do you think people will talk about me if you go like this ripped jeans? And my little daughter here will say, in her mind, because she's respecting me, so all what he cares about, his image in front of other friends. And all of a sudden, and I'm completely faulty, I already sent the message to my boys or girls that all what I care about is the culture. Although I am supposed to tell them it's actually a lot more than that. But I didn't wrap it in a way that to be understood. I'm not sure what do you think?
I was gonna say something. It's not just with clothes, how we go to church. It's like, yeah, it's not just clothes. It's like if a boy and girl are talking outside and so many people will say something about it in like the negative way, when in reality it could be just like, can I have the notes for science or something small? Yeah, and I promise that's happened before. I'm pretty sure that has happened before. People will go and talk about silly things like that, but again, it really doesn't matter. It just comes to terms with what's in your heart. You could be the most dressed up, nicest person in church and have a very sinful heart, and it doesn't matter to God. But if you are a person who maybe they can't afford a nice dress, and you go to church in jeans and a t-shirt, but you have a really big heart, that's what matters to God. It doesn't matter if you talk to the opposite gender or what you wear, it matters in your heart. And I think that's like a really big concept we forget, especially American are just as guilty for that. It's not just Egyptian. I guess it's people are just as guilty as looking outside instead of really what's inside. And I've seen it a lot in church, like even in churches outside with my school friends. Like with their churches, they do the same. But
do the same meaning,
like talking everything.
Like because of the appearance.
Yeah, I mean, not as excessively, but like talk bad about the kid, talk bad about the parent, whatever. But yeah, it's not just a culture thing sometimes.
There is something very, very important that you need to address, because yes, there is an image for the parents as well. And yes, when a child comes and starts, misbehaving in church or Sunday school, the parent often is blamed, So yes, our image is important, especially in a gathering where we respect the congregation. But I do believe if we stop the gossiping in church, then we place culture where it belongs and we place God where He belongs. And it will come down to that. Being a youth minister for so many years, I have seen where the youth come and their fears of having a bad reputation and their fears of, and I don't think the church is a place for it, but unfortunately because of that, we do bring in culture into the church, into the faith. And suddenly the faith diminishes while the image of the culture increases, when it should be the opposite. The house of God should be a refuge for us. And it should be a place where we go and not be judged, where we go and not be criticized, where we go and just find the love of God. Because really, the love of God is through us to others. And if we don't show this love, then not only are we bringing in the culture, we're bringing into the church, we're bringing the world into the church, and it does not belong in the church.
Right.
Something about that you said, like a lot of people that were raised and born in this country go into church and they see like people doing things that like maybe they wouldn't do in school, and they feel like so much more worse about it, like the talking or gossiping or staring or whatever. And this person, like, let's just say American and Egyptian, I hate using those titles, but I don't know what else to do. An American goes into church and they're all talking about them, they're all saying really mean things about them, and they keep doing it continuously, where in like that American person's used to maybe like, oh, maybe 1 or 2 days people talk about me, I can live with that and then get over it. But when it's so excessively, like, and they don't stop talking about that person for maybe one act, they feel really judged and they don't feel safe in the church, as if it's like school, like a person being bullied in school. They don't feel safe in the church, and where Mom said it's supposed to be a safe place that is like not judgmental, very safe. And when it doesn't become that, it becomes worldly, yeah. And it's like, I can just go to school and I can get the same thing. I don't have to be in church. And that's unfortunately happened a lot, and I've seen it a lot. But God has His ways to bring them back.
I wish I would have more time, but I really want to wrap up what you guys saying, because this is beautiful. It's a big ideas that we would like to, I wish we can all speak about it out loud in many programs, because a lot of people are being offended within our house of God. I wish they are judged by God, that would be easier, but they are judged by exactly their own peers, and all of a sudden we judge them as if we are the spiritual judges, and all of a sudden we're bringing dogma as if I have the right to say who goes for communion and who isn't, and who is worthy and who isn't, and I can judge the way you dress as a person who is worthy to serve or not, and all of a sudden who am I? And this person on the receiving end is standing there and say, if this is the house of God, I have very little to want to do with it. My clothes are being judged by the way I'm talking, the way I'm acting, and I'm coming here thinking it's a hospital. Everybody should be sick, everybody needs to be treated, but I'm coming here as if it's a court, and everybody's becoming a judge. I wish some of them are attorneys to defend me, but they are even judging me. So if you are listening there and you are one of those people who mixed dogma, faith, and culture, we need all to clean the real from the false, and the real faith from what is not faith at all. We need to teach our children what is really church-wise and what is culture-wise. And if it's culture-wise, we should never try to make as if God is upset when we break culture. If we break culture, okay, we broke culture. But if we broke God's heart, that's a major thing. And I hope we're not teaching our children that God is upset when they didn't eat a certain food or they didn't wear a certain place. I wish we teach them to respect God's house by wearing the right clothes, not because we want people to talk good about us and to respect us, but rather they are coming to meet the Lord of Lords.